Almost every piece of financial advice tells you the same thing. January is the time to set your financial goals, to make your budget, to set your intentions, and to plan your year. But as a financial advisor, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. January is actually the worst time to make major financial decisions. And just think about it. January, you're running on holiday exhaustion. You might be experiencing a little bit of the winter blues. And this is just pure idealism telling you that this is the time to plan for the new you. Let's face it, January, you're just guessing what your year is going to look like. But right now, it's July. The noise has cleared. The tax fog from April is long gone. And you have something way more valuable. You actually have 6 months of real world data. Hi, my name's Sally Boyle, and I am the founder of S.J. Boyle Wealth Planning. And I help individuals and couples age 50 and above to plan for a retirement they can't wait to wake up to. So let me just reiterate. The middle of the year is where the rubber meets the road financially. July is a perfect month because this is the exact moment where your financial goals are either becoming a reality, and because you can look at what happened and confirm that they're on track and important, or they're silently dying because either life got in the way, which is maybe just another way of saying that they're less important, or just way down your priority list. And that's that valuable information as well. But here's what I see most people do. They take a look at their January list. They realize that they haven't made as much progress as they had intended in January. And they begin to feel just guilty. And they say, hey, I'll just try harder next year. And that to me could be a massive mistake because maybe it's not about trying harder. Many people would tell you if you don't try harder, you're going to miss out on thousands of dollars of missed opportunities. But I'm here to tell you that it could also save you thousands of dollars in what I call misplaced opportunities. So maybe instead of trying harder, it would be better just to revisit your January goals in July, because setting your intentions in January is good. Don't misunderstand me. I think beginning to look at your financial goals in the early part of the year is an important exercise. But revisiting them in July can be equally important, and here's why. Now, I know most of you are ready. You're looking at this video and saying, I'm going to move on to another one because, Sally, do you actually know how hard it is, what work it is in January to come up with our planning goals in the first place? And I say, yep, I do. I do it every single year with clients. And you're also thinking to yourself, this is summertime. The last thing I want to do is start looking at my finances. And I get that as well. But what I'm saying is this is just a quick 15-minute pivot, not a major exploration. And when it's done right, it can save you money before December 31st. And that's the intention here, is to make sure that your money is being allocated properly after a review. And I also understand that financial planning is not a one-size-fits-all. For a 35-year-old trying to just balance a mortgage and focus on their career growth, that's very different than a 62-year-old who's staring down retirement. But the pivot looks very similar for all of us, regardless of our stage in life, because it's simply a course correction. It's not a major life change. So what do the steps look like? Well, the first one I call the pruning phase. People love adding new goals, but they have a really hard time just crossing the old ones off. But that's a good decision as well. Because if a financial goal that you set in January no longer fits your life as it is today, or your identity as it is today, or maybe even just today's market reality, feel free to just kill it. Keeping an irrelevant goal on your list doesn't motivate you. It just leaks your mental energy in the form of low-grade guilt. The second step I say is just audit your calendar and your resources, your cash, not just your outcomes. We often look at the outcome and we say, oh, I didn't save enough in this quarter, instead of really just looking at the resource allocation. For example, if you look back over the last 90 days and did your automated transfers actually reflect your stated priorities? And if you wanted to fully fund that retirement cash bucket, but your accounts showed that the money drifted into summer travel or home renovations, I don't think you have a resource or a motivation problem. I think you have a scheduling and resource problem. In other words, look back. Maybe you need to catch up on those objectives in the next 90 days, but your money went exactly towards your intentions for the last 90. And then the third thing is just celebrate your wins. It's what I call the silent wins. You know, human brains suffer from a recency bias, and we remember the bill that we were surprised by yesterday, but we completely forget that we successfully rebalanced our portfolio in the first quarter, or maybe we even cut back on a major expense in March that was unnecessary. And if you don't intentionally list and celebrate those wins, the ones that happened in the first half of the year, you try to build the second half of the year on a psychological foundation that is one of deficit instead of momentum. So here's your simple 15-minute year checkup framework pivot. I want you to take your current financial goals and drop them into 3 quick buckets. The first one is the keep and accelerate bucket. What is working? Where are you already winning? And how can you just pour a little gas on that fire? The second one is your pivot and pause bucket. The goal's still right, but the strategy is breaking against your reality. Remember, we talked about the resource and scheduling part of this? Just modify the timeline or the scope of those particular goals. And then the kill and the bury ones. Delete the goal entirely that is not fitting today. Or not fitting the version today as it did your version of 6 months ago. So, and always remember what I call the 80-20 rule of mid-year planning. You don't need a total life overhaul right now. You really do need to find those goals in the keep and accelerate bucket, or maybe even the pivot and pause bucket, and give them 20% more resources. Maybe the resources that you had planned to go in the kill it bucket. And the ones that are dragging you down, that are exhausting you, feel free to cut them loose. And I promise you, all of that's going to take you only about 15 minutes. So if you want the exact 15-minute checklist that I use with clients, just give me a little comment. Just drop it in the comments below. And if you really liked this information, just like and follow us for more.